Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to Money Clarity, the channel where we cut through the financial noise and give you the real picture. No fluff, no filters. Today, we are going deep on probably one of the most emotionally charged financial topics of our generation: why millions of hardworking, totally responsible people still cannot afford to buy a house. Listen, you've been fed a very specific story about this for a long time, but today, we're tossing that out. We're going to look at the hard data and analyze the true systemic barriers in the housing market. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never look at real estate the same way again. Let's get into it.
Right off the bat, let's just kill this narrative that has been pushed on millennials and Gen Z for over a decade. You know the one. The idea goes something like this. Young people are broke because they're irresponsible with their money. Stop buying lattes, skip the avocado toast, and magically you'll have a down payment. Now, on the surface, sure, saving money sounds logical, right? But is this condescending mainstream narrative actually the root cause of the housing crisis? Let's literally just look at the numbers.
Let's do the actual math here. Say an average latte is $6. You buy 5 a week, and honestly, we're being pretty generous there. That gives you a yearly latte cost of exactly $1,560. Okay, now let's look at the median U.S. home price in 2024, which is sitting right around $412,000. A standard 20% down payment on that home, that's $82,400. So, at that savings rate, from cutting out your morning coffee alone, it would take you 52 years to save up a down payment. 52 years! So no, it was literally never about the coffee. The real reasons you can't afford a house are structural, they're systemic, and honestly, they're deliberate. There are 3 massive ones, and we need to break them all down. All right, reason number 1, the mortgage lock-in effect. To really understand this first macroeconomic barrier, we have to look back just a few years and see how drastically the financial ground has shifted right under our feet. Cast your mind back to 2021. The contrast here is just staggering. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate was sitting pretty right around 3%. So, in 2021, on a $400,000 home with 20% down, your monthly payment was roughly $1,349. Fast forward to today, rates have been stubbornly stuck above 6%, sometimes even pushing towards 7 or 8%. For the exact same $400,000 house, with that same 20% down, your monthly payment is now $1,918. That is $569 more every single month. The severity of this shift is absolutely massive. Think about it. That extra $569 a month comes out to almost $7 grand more every year. Over the life of a standard 30-year loan, that rate hike alone costs a buyer an extra $204,840. Over $200,000 just completely gone solely because of the change in interest rates. Now, the Federal Reserve raised those rates to fight inflation, which, to be fair, was very real and needed to be dealt with. But the side effect on housing, it's been devastating. Which leads us to the cruelest twist of this whole situation, the mortgage lock-in effect. See, the people who locked in those amazing 3% rates back in 2021, they are not selling. And I mean, why would they? They'd be giving up an incredibly cheap mortgage just to turn around and buy something else at 7%. It makes no financial sense. So it's effectively left the current real estate supply completely frozen in ice. It is totally choking the market supply right at the exact moment demand is screaming for more houses. Which brings us perfectly to reason number 2, the historic inventory crisis.
Guys, there are simply not enough homes being built or sold in America right now. The U.S. has basically been underbuilding housing for over a decade. Economists estimate that the country is currently short anywhere from 3.5 million to 7 million homes. 7 million. That is not some little rounding error. That is a massive generational supply failure.
Now, for the industry decision makers out there, we really have to look at how these issues converged. This didn't happen overnight. After the 2008 housing crash, builders panicked. They got scared and pulled back. Then, banking regulations got incredibly tight. On top of that, local communities dug their heels in with rigid zoning laws that essentially blocked new development. Add in skyrocketing construction materials and persistent labor shortages hitting the trades really hard. Nobody fixed these foundational issues. And all of this converged exactly as millennials, literally the largest generation in history, hit their prime home buying age. Demand is massive, supply is near historic lows, and basic economics tells you exactly what happens next. Prices stay sky high or they go even higher.
And then there's reason number 3, the institutional buyer threats.
Here's the thing. Everyday buyers are no longer just competing with other families or young couples who've been saving up for years. You are competing with billion-dollar corporations, institutional investors, We're talking companies like Invitation Homes, BlackRock-backed entities, dozens of private equity firms. They've been buying up single-family homes at an industrial scale for over a decade. In some highly saturated regional markets, places like Atlanta, Phoenix, Charlotte, and Dallas, institutional buyers have accounted for 20 to 30% of all home purchases in recent years. That kind of localized buying power drives median prices up by as much as 30 to 40% in those specific zip codes. And remember, we aren't talking about massive apartment complexes here. We're talking about houses, the exact same starter homes you are trying to buy for your family.
Let's look at the mechanics of this model, which I like to call the wealth transfer machine. These corporations obviously don't live in those homes, they buy them, and then they rent them right back to you. They use cheap corporate financing, which is structurally way cheaper than your individual mortgage, to buy the property, and then they charge you rent that's often higher than a mortgage payment would have been. So they capture all the equity appreciation over time, and you literally pay them to build their wealth, keeping young buyers permanently stuck renting. And look, this isn't some wild conspiracy theory. This is widely available public data.
So if you take nothing else away from this video, please hear this. If you've been feeling like you're failing, like everyone else seems to be buying homes and somehow you're doing something terribly wrong, I want you to pause. You are not failing. The system is failing you. The rules changed, the game got a whole lot harder, and the people who benefited from the old rules, they're now trying to tell you the problem is your spending habits. Owning a home is stability, it's community, it's the bedrock of generational wealth. When that is made structurally inaccessible to an entire generation, it absolutely matters, emotionally, psychologically, and societally. Okay, let's pivot. Actionable real estate strategies.
I'm definitely not going to leave you here with just frustration. What can you actually do about this? Well, here are 3 initial strategies worth considering right now to navigate these seemingly impossible conditions. First up, location arbitrage. The housing crisis is not equally distributed. Contrast the super-saturated markets against more accessible cities like Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Memphis, or El Paso. If remote work is an option for you, targeting these affordable markets can seriously fast-track homeownership. Second, look into down payment assistance. So many people have no idea these programs even exist. State housing finance agencies offer grants and second mortgages, especially tailored for first-time buyers. Finally, rate monitoring. Listen, rates will eventually come down. History pretty much guarantees it. The strategy right now is to build your credit and stack your cash reserves so you can strike the very second they drop.
Next up is a strategy I absolutely love, the house hacking method. This is a brilliant workaround. Here's how it works. Step 1, you buy a multi-unit property, like a duplex or a triplex. Step 2, you live in one of those units. Step 3, you rent out the other units to tenants, and their rent effectively subsidizes your mortgage. It is hands down one of the most powerful wealth-building strategies available to everyday people, and the best part is, it functions perfectly even in very expensive regional markets.
And finally, you've got to stay informed and get loud. This is a genuinely crucial, actionable step. Vote for housing reform in your local elections. Show up and support zoning changes that actually allow for more building. Educate your community and just talk about this openly with your friends. The only way systemic structural problems ever get fixed is through local civic engagement and when enough people finally understand the data and demand better.
So, what should we really take away from all this? The core message today is simple. The housing crisis is incredibly real. It is not your fault. And it's not unsolvable, but fixing it starts with understanding the actual data. Knowing these systemic forces, the lock-in effect, the historic inventory shortage, the institutional buyers, having that knowledge is your absolute greatest advantage as you plan out your financial future. And hey, that is exactly what we do here at Money Clarity every single week. If this video gave you even one aha moment, do me a favor and share it. Send it to a friend who's been pulling their hair out over the housing market. Also, drop a comment below. I genuinely read every single one of them. Tell me, are you currently trying to buy a home? What market are you in? And what is your single biggest obstacle right now? Let's talk about it down there. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button right now, give this video a like, and hit the notification bell. Make sure you set it to all so you are the very first to know when we drop critical updates just like this one. Stay clear, stay smart. I'll catch you guys in the next one.